Sorry, the dog's doing something, just pulling my wires out. So if I suddenly disappear, that's the dog pulling the wires out. So, hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. The dogs. What's my princess Tia? The big dog, the German Shepherd. She's just having a little meltdown. I don't know. I think it's the heat. We're all having a meltdown. What do you think of my hair? So literally 2 minutes ago, I was in the bathroom. I was putting some perfume on, of all things. I quite often put perfume on before I come on stream, which of course, is ridiculous because nobody knows if I've got perfume on or not. And in the in my bathroom cupboard, I've got some spray hair paints. I've got all different colours, and I thought, oh, I'm wearing pink today. I love pink. Can't remember ever using that actual pink spray, so I had to spray. Well, it's nothing I can do about it now because I was literally due to start the live within 30 seconds. So I don't know if I'm really that keen on it. I think I might have gone a little bit mad with it. But anyway, there it is. So I'm in pink today. It'll make you smile if nothing else. You know what? My only purpose in life is to make other people feel better, I think. So if it makes you smile, good. But then it's sort of growing on me a little bit. Yeah, I do like it because pink is my favourite colour. Anyway, so now of course, we're going to talk about 3 things today which are entwined with cases. But they're also, I was doing the Sunday services, which I don't think I'm going to do the Sunday services like I used to. But I think there are moral, There are sort of lessons that we can learn from a lot of the cases that we talk about, aren't they? Things that are just part of most of the cases that we talk about, one way or another. They are human things that happen to us in life. We all have to deal with narcissists from time to time. We all have to find strength out of absolute. These are the things we're going to talk about today. Narcissism, strength, how strength can be found out of the most horrible circumstances that you can imagine, and also miracles that can happen, but also they come with a price, don't they? Miracles like survival guilt. So these are the 3 things we're going to talk about today. So they're sort of it's not exactly a Sunday service, not everything's positive, but I do think what I'm going to try and do is take some positivity out of each of these stories. And the reason that I'm finding it difficult to do the Sunday service at the moment is because I have so many cases that I want to talk about. There are things that come up that I want to talk about, and Sunday is a day that I've got more time than other days, when I'm not doing my other job, which, in case anybody doesn't know, is as a Spanish teacher. If then I can't sort of, this first thing that I'm going to talk about Anna Knezevic, I've been waiting nearly a week to talk about this, just trying to fit it in with everything else. So, yeah, so maybe Sunday service will take, doing a live on a Sunday is not a problem. It's what I'm going to be doing it about that maybe is, if I have to sort of do it like a Sunday service where it's only about positivity. And positivity is good, and I will try my best to find positivity in all these 3 things we're going to talk about. Though the first one will be difficult. I'll do them in the order that I think the last thing that we're going to talk about is the most positive thing. Try and find some positivity in things, whereas acknowledging, the seriousness of the things that we're going to talk about. So there you go. That's what I'm going to talk about. Let's just go through the things I'm going to talk about before I do. I'm going to talk about Anna Knezevic. This case is, it's not a case that has attracted attracted massive media attention. But I've covered it from the beginning. I find Anna's case, I really feel it in a personal way, and I think it's because it happened in Spain. Also because it's like a stalking case, really, isn't it? It's, you know, how I think I experienced, what I think I experienced, and I'm just lucky that I'm alive now, because I managed to get away from my stalker. But you know what? Anna couldn't have tried harder to get away from her ex-husband. You know, she split up from her ex-husband. She couldn't have tried any harder, and he still got her. And the other thing that gets to me about Anna's case is how totally pointless it was, because nobody has profited out of this crime at all, you know, including the perpetrator. It's just, you know, I feel like we're at a point, and Anna's remains, of course, have not been found yet. That's what I pray for every day, that her remains are found and she's brought home to her family at least. But I identify with Anna, I think. So that's probably why I feel it in a personal way. And as you know, I cover crimes not because they're going to be, you know, popular on the internet. I cover them because I feel emotionally involved with them. So we're going to talk about Anna first. Then we will be talking about these poor little girls. This case is becoming known as like the Decker sisters. These poor girls murdered by their father. 3 sisters, Peyton 9, Evelyn 8, and Olivia only 5 years old. All murdered by their father, the absolute twonk, Travis Decker, still not been found. But we're going to find some positivity in that, although you can't believe that you could find any positivity in this case. But we're going to have a look at the memorial service that's recently been held, and the mother, Whitney, and the strength that, I don't know where she's got it from, but she's found some strength from somewhere. And then we are going to talk about this survivor of the India plane crash, which, you know, the more I read about him, it's like it is a miracle that this man survived. Not only just walked away, you know, we've got a video to look at. This is him. He actually just walked away from this plane crash that nobody else survived. I mean, he was injured, though I think when he walked away with his phone in his hand, which just gets to me, that's definitely what happens these days, isn't it? You can't separate anyone from the phone, even after a plane crash. But of course, his brother was sitting next to him on the flight. His brother died, and he's recently been released from hospital to help carry his brother's coffin. I'm going to talk about that to finish off. So thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for being subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing. It's completely free. And thanks to those of you who go an extra mile. Thank you to my members. Thank you to people who buy me Ko-fis, send me PayPals, and buy merchandise, of course. So don't forget, my shop is open. My shop is on the Ko-fi link, and there are things there you might be interested in, merchandise. Thank you to those who've ordered. And, you know, if there's anything you want to personalize or suggest that goes in my shop, just let me know at my email address that can be found on this YouTube channel. So, hello, lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for those that will be watching on replay, crew. Thank you so much. And I want to say a special thank you as well to those of you who are brave enough to join in the chat. I'm going to come in and say hello to all you now. Thanks for giving up some of your Sunday to listen to me waffle on about things. Hi, Admit. Hi, Sheep Farming. Hi, Dry Spell. Hi, Yvonne. Hi, Bluebell. A gorgeous. don't know about gorgeous. So this is like this spray pink paint. I wouldn't say it's brilliant quality. It feels a bit weirdy, but anyway, no, I'm happy with it. It could be worse. It'll, it gives some people something to talk about. And you know what they say, as long as they're talking about me, they're not talking about anybody else. Hi, Lily. A pixie. Yeah. Hi, David. A lot of flows going on. Yeah, Anna's cases, just... Anyway, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So that's who we're going to talk about first. We're going to talk about Anna Knezevic, or Henao, which is her family name, of course. And the thing I'm going to talk about, these are articles that I found in the Spanish news, because I don't think there's been much on the American, the British, the English speaking sort of crime channels. Not many people have covered this. Not really sure why, because to me, it's an incredible case. It's just, but maybe it just means more to me because I live in Spain, and also Anna's case, it resonates with me personally. Maybe that's why, but I don't think it's had the attention that it's deserved from all the sort of true crime channels, etc. So yeah, this is the story, of course, of Anna Knezevic, or Henao, as she's like to be. Her family like to talk about her. Anna, 40 years old, beautiful woman, as you can see, in the prime of her life. She was married to David when they were quite young. They've been married for quite a long time. And, it always makes me sad to see this photo and other photos that I've seen of Anna and Davido when they were together, when they were young. Why does it all go wrong? Where do these relationships go wrong? They obviously were in love at some point. There's evidence of that. They were enough in love to get married. Why did it all go wrong for Anna and David? And not only go wrong, but horribly wrong. I mean, a lot of relationships go wrong, don't they? But to end in murder, is just inconceivable, isn't it? So this guy, he must have been, a little bit of a psychopath. I don't know, even when he was young. But as time went on, he became more and more of a psychopath. And the crime that Anna committed was she left him. She left him, didn't she? She left him. And not only she left him, she was happy. She was happy. She was having a great life. She left him. She came all the way to Spain to get away from this man. This is his mugshot. This is Davido's mugshot. I mean, we have no recent pictures of Anna. There'll be no more photos ever taken of Anna. That's quite, when you think of it like that, isn't it? When we talk about victims and we have the photos of them up to when they died. But, Anna died nearly, what was it? Not this February just gone, but the February before. Anna's never going to have another photo taken. And neither is Davido, actually, because, as I say, this is the most pointless crime in history to me. That's what makes it all the sadder. All these crimes are sad. But what did this crime achieve? Nothing. Nobody has... there's no positivity, no. Anyway, so let me just give you a brief recap of what happened in case you weren't following me when I was covering this case, which I covered from the beginning, because Anna Knezevic, or Henao, her maiden name. She was married to David. She's a Colombian national. He's a Serbian national. but they lived in Florida. So she is a US citizen, as was he. They were both US citizens, and they lived together happily, you might say, for quite a while in Florida, married, successful business. I mean, business, millionaire business. I mean, their business is worth millions. God knows what's going to happen to that now, if there's ever even any money left. Had David been siphoning off the money? Is that why he didn't want to give Anna any money? Maybe there was no money left. But anyway, to all intents and purposes, Anna had a bank account with money in it from the business. So they were married. They started a business together. Was doing okay, but it seems like David, he was seeing other women. He treated Anna really badly. That's what we're going to see. And in the end, Anna, like a lot of women, as they get older, because probably when she's in her 20s, 30s or whatever, but she was 40 when she went missing. I expect being 40 as well, like that milestone of the 40th birthday, it's like you start thinking, don't you? Because you've got to a sort of significant age, if you like, that you celebrate your 40th birthday and you start to think about your life. Is your life going the way you want it to go, etc.? Maybe that's why Anna finally left David. I don't know if we'll ever know the full story now. So she left him and she went to live in Spain, which of course is where I am. And I actually did go on location there to Madrid to see where the location where Anna disappeared. I've been in contact with Anna's best friend. She gave me the address and I went to the address. I did some filming there. And it was like weird how anyone could have got Anna out of that apartment, because it's like in a block of apartments. Anyway, somebody did, and we know now exactly what happened, to be honest. So Anna disappeared. Literally, she was on the phone chatting to her friends, and then she was gone, stopped answering. Strange messages came through that didn't seem to be from her, but said not only to her family and her friends in English and Spanish, saying that she'd met some guy on the street, connected instantly with them, and gone off to spend a couple of weeks with them in a holiday place just outside Madrid. None of the friends believed that that could be real. And so they finally went over there and they found out that somebody had sprayed out the CCTV within the apartment. Somebody with a crash helmet on had gone in, done that, sprayed the TV, and then, but not very well, and then been seen coming out of the lift in Anna's apartment block carrying a suitcase, which it is now believed that Anna, bless her, was in that suitcase. Anna was a tiny lady, less than 5 foot tall, very slender. She would have easily fitted in a suitcase. Anyway, then it turned out it was David, her husband, his lawyer had been all over the TV saying nothing to do with him. But he was in Serbia. He'd never been to Spain. Didn't speak Spanish. Why would he go to Spain? Yeah, knew nothing about it. Blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah. Anyway, then it turned out, as CCTV came out, it was David. It was clearly David in the crash helmet. He was seen buying duct tape in a hardware store just around the corner. Anyway, this might come up in what the article I'm going to read out. But all the evidence pointed to David. Turned out that David it was the one who'd got somebody to translate those messages for him. It's probably him who sent them from Anna's phone. And then David, because he's an idiot, he finally went to Florida and he was arrested as he left Florida and as he left Serbia, went to Florida. He was immediately arrested. He was initially charged with kidnapping, which of course his lawyer said, no way, he's done that. Anna's alive and well somewhere. She's going to turn up one day. Anyway, then he was charged with murder as well. And then he decided to take justice into his own hands. He removed himself from this world while he was in prison. He deleted himself, but he has never said where Anna is. And probably as we speak, the FBI, the Spanish police, combined are working together to try and find Anna. I'm still hopeful that one day they will find Anna's remains. Because although now, of course, the case is dissolved now because he's deleted himself. So there is no case. There will be no trial. We probably would have been undertaking the trial this month, I think, or next month, or was it July or August? Anyway, the trial was coming up. There won't be a trial now because there's nobody to try. So I don't know what works as far as that's concerned. But I think you could honestly say that the Spanish police, the FBI, etc., this is definitely a case where the people worked together. It was the Serbian police, the Colombian police, the Spanish police, and the FBI all worked together to capture this guy and build a case against him. And my opinion is this man, he has deleted himself. Let me put a picture of Anna up in the corner, actually. Normally do that, and I forgot this time. That he has deleted himself because he realised the evidence that was stacking up against him, it was too much. So he realised he couldn't get, if he thought he could get out of it, he would still be here trying to pretend he hadn't done anything. Apparently he was laughing and joking in court, wasn't he? Anyway, so what I'm going to talk to you just briefly talk about today is, as I research Anna's case every single day. There's not a day that goes past that I don't look to see, has Anna been found? Is there any more developments? Is there anything? Because to me now, I feel like in a way justice has been served because David is, taking himself off from this world, has saved a lot of money with a trial. But it's not proper justice, is it? Because her family don't know where she is. He hasn't had to face people, etc. But anyway, at least he's not at liberty. So I check it every day. I check every day to see if there's any more news about Anna. And generally there isn't. But I found this article, which I'd say is in the Spanish newspapers, and that's what we're going to look at. So just make sure you're all right in chat. Hi Geordie. Yeah, there's a lot. Well, there's so many different theories. Some people think he took her to Italy, like they've been tracing his steps. They checked in Spain. He has been to Italy as well. They've searched there, and they're searching right along the path that they think he might have been and the places that he stopped, which they'll know from his phone. But yeah, a lot of people were saying that they thought he had probably taken her to Serbia, which isn't that far away. The thing is, I think you think, oh, Serbia's a different country to Spain, obviously, but it's actually not that far away to drive to. Most of Europe is drivable. So anyway, let's see. So let's have a look at the article. So now it's in Spanish, so I'll have to interpret it as I go along. So the voice messages of Anna Maria before she disappeared. David is a narcissist. So these are apparently what she told her friend. And she's beautiful, Bluebell, you're right. She's a very beautiful woman. Just makes you so angry because she was coming into the best time of her life, really, because she was just escaping from David. You know, I'm sure she had a good time with David at one point. I'm sure they were in love at one point. But as she got older, the thing is, as you get older, you start to see through these sort of people. And I think that's what happened with Anna. She probably put up with a lot while she was younger, didn't click with a lot of it. And then as she got older, she started to click. And anyway, so apparently there was a program on the Spanish TV where they shared exclusively the audios of Ana Maria Henao. So this is quite often how she's known now, because her family don't want her to be remembered with the name Knezevic. So apparently these voice messages talk about her conflictive relationship with her husband, David. So Ana Maria disappeared on the 2nd of February in Madrid, not this year, but last year. So in 2024, she disappeared. So she's been missing, you know, a year and a half, really. But, you know, it's thought she's definitely deceased. I don't think there's any hopes whatsoever that Anna is still alive. And it's suspected that she was murdered by her husband. And the voice messages reveal the fear and the manipulation that Ana Maria suffered before her disappearance. So let's just have a look at this video. Now, of course, it'll be in Spanish. Oh, I think it's not working now. Video. Let's see. Yeah, I tried to get on it before and I can't get on the actual voice messages. But to be honest, the voice messages, it doesn't matter if you could listen to them because they're in Spanish anyway. But in one of the voice messages sent to her friend Louisiana Moreno, Anna said, "He is a narcissist, but he doesn't know it. He still does not know it. The therapists are helping me to to get over him so that his manipulation doesn't work anymore. It was important that a professional told me and that I wasn't mad." Now, you know what it's like, or maybe you do, or a lot of people, I'm sure, that are watching this video. This is what narcissists do, don't they? They make it seem as if you're mad. You know, it's you who's saying the wrong thing. It's you who's, needs a therapist. But it's them. But they're really good at that, aren't they? That is what narcissists are good at. You know, making it look as if it's you who's got mental health issues when really it's them. So she said it was important that a professional told me that and that I wasn't mad. So Louisiana, who was with Anna the day before her disappearance. So she was actually with poor Anna the day before she disappeared. She explained that her friend was psychologically and emotionally kidnapped by David. So before she was kidnapped physically, she was kidnapped. That's what sequestrada, maybe there's a better word I could use. She was taken over by David psychologically and emotionally before she was physically taken away by him. Another voice message reveals details on the therapy that Ana Maria and David were following. I advised her I advised or recommended to her a psychiatrist of psychoanalysis who worked with families and partnerships. We did therapy, 3 sessions. Oh, he had 3 sessions. I had 3 sessions. I noted that, again, he was deceiving me. He was using Tinder. So, this is just typical, isn't it? We know for a fact that he was looking for other women because the woman, he had that other Colombian woman that he'd got in touch with, she was the one that he got to translate the messages that he sent to Anna's family and friends. So the doctors told me to tell him, the doctors told me that on telling him that we were separating, it wouldn't go well for me. They helped me to get a fair divorce. So Anna Maria was looking for a divorce in which she felt protected, but David always showed disagreement. He contested everything. Now, do you remember, those of you who've been with me for a long time, you'll remember those very first things we watched from his lawyer in America saying, oh no, it's an amicable divorce. You know, they're not even using divorce lawyers. You know, it's all really amicable. Of course, David's got nothing to do with her disappearance. He must feel like a right idiot now. So he stuck up with for David, which is his job, I suppose, as his lawyer. But he insisted there was no acrimony whatsoever. Anyway, Luisana Moreno affirms that Anna Maria wanted to live her life after 40 years working and making, making a pact with David. She wanted 50-50. The legal, but David didn't want to give her 50%. This is what makes me so angry and sad about this case. If David would have just given her 50% that she was entitled to, they would both be alive now, living their best life. Anna would be having a great time in Madrid. She'd made new friends. She was going to salsa classes. She was finding herself as a person. And David he was always moving on, it seems. Even when he was with Anna, he was, looking for different women. But he could have had a life as well. And this is what I mean when this is the most pointless case. I just feel like this is a couple who had the world at their feet. Money, good business. They could have come to still young enough to start new lives without each other. They could have started new lives. That's what Anna was trying to do. That's what David could have done. And because of David just wouldn't accept 50%, he wanted 75% of the business. There's no children involved in this case, luckily, because those poor children, they'd be orphans now, wouldn't they? God knows what's going to happen to the money that these two have left behind. And in another video that I did, you'll see that it seems like David's family knew about what he'd done. They've protected him. It'd be disgusting if they received any of Anna's money. Anyway, in another voicemail, she expressed her frustration for the two-facedness of David. So in front of the therapist, he said to me that he was going to do everything for me, but later he changed. Why do you not sort of comply with what we were talking about? I don't want So I don't want that what I deserve. This is what Anna said. I don't want that what I deserve should go to another person or used to make more money. I just want my money. None of these things interest me. And this conflict reflected the manipulation, the constant manipulation that Anna Maria suffered. So, she knew that he was trying to manipulate her, and he was trying not to give her what she deserved. But I bet she never imagined that he was actually going to murder her. I bet she never imagined that. You wouldn't think of that, would you? That he would go all the way from Serbia to Madrid and actually murder her. Anyway, Luisana also revealed that Anna Maria was scared of David and that she had suffered various panic attacks after discovering his infidelity. She always told me that David wanted to control everything. And according to Luisana, the day before her disappearance, they were both together And, you know, they thought David was in Miami. You know, they thought he was still in Florida, but actually he was in Serbia. But actually, the day before Anna disappeared, he was in Madrid circling around her house, watching the day before. He was circling around. However, the next day, the security cameras captured an individual that fitted the description of David entering the edificio, the building. Sorry, I'm going to end up speaking in Spanish. So on the 1st of February, a friend visited Anna Maria, staying in her house during 5 hours before they left the building together. Makes you wonder, was David watching that? That night, Anna Marie returned alone, and that was the last time that she was seen alive. On the 2nd of February, she was seen, well, it said it was the last time she was seen alive. It wasn't then, was it? Anyway, never mind. So on the 2nd of February, oh God, it's gone. Sorry, it's moved down. She was seen again entering the building with some flowers in her hand, but she never left again. So why are they saying that was the last time that... Oh, it's the last time her friend saw her alive. And then on the 2nd of February, she was seen going into the building with a bunch of flowers in her hand, but she never left again, or she was never seen leaving again. She did leave. She left in the suitcase, didn't she? And that's when the next day she sent this suspicious message to a group of friends saying that she had gone off to a sort of holiday home with some guy she'd met on the street. And anyway, they all said that this was not something typical that she would do. So anyway, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is I just wanted to show you that Anna knew that David was a narcissist, you know, but she probably never expected that he would go all the way from Serbia. She didn't even know he was in Serbia. She thought he was in Miami. She thought he was in Florida. You know, so I just wanted to tell you about that because I found that in the Spanish. There's a lot more information on the Spanish news than there is on the other news, probably because Anna was Colombian. But she, you know, she was an American citizen. So, poor Anna. And as I say, just the most pointless crime that I can think of that I've ever read about. You know what I mean? Hi, Angel. Yeah, of course 50-50 is fair. That's what she should have received, shouldn't she? You know, but this is it. So, you know, as I say, most pointless case I've ever seen. At the end of the day, this poor, it's just so pointless. You know, neither of them are here anymore. Neither of them can enjoy the money that they built up, the business they built up. It's just all come to nothing. She's deceased, he's deceased. There's still a mess left behind, you know, who was involved from his family. Are her family ever going to get Anna Maria's remains back to bury her properly? Where is she? You know, so it's a horrible case, isn't it? You know, like, but I do feel, honestly, I don't think the Spanish police will give up, you know, along with the FBI. I don't think they will give up until they've explored every possibility of where Anna might be. They'll be following David's phone, you know, all the way along his trip. She is somewhere. They will find her somewhere at some point, hopefully. That is my hope. But of course, there's going to be no trial now. You know, I don't know what will happen now as far as all that kind of thing. But anyway. Okay, so that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. Sorry, just need to. Okay, next case. Next thing. Again, very sad. But also, I think there is some hope. Not hope. Hope's not the right word. We're going to talk now. Let me change the picture up at the top. So, God bless Anna. I hope that she is found. Just hope and pray. And honestly, I'm not exaggerating when I say there are some cases that really get to you. Anna's case is, I feel Anna with me all the time. And I think it's because it's Spain, because it's like a stalking type case. I feel really resonate with Anna's case, and there's not a day goes by that I don't think about Anna. And I mean that 100%. I don't think about her, and I just hope. I feel like she's crying out to be found. A lot of these missing people, that's how I feel. It's like they're calling out to be found. I just hope she is. Anyway, okay, so now we're going to talk about these three little angels, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. And these are the Decker sisters. This is a case we've been following of this absolute twonk, Travis Decker. Just, I want, you can't even say, like, a man who killed his children. He's not a man, is he? Who is he? He's a nothing. He's a nobody. I can't wait till his remains are found, because I personally think he is dead somewhere. But anyway, time will tell. Just want him to be found, either taken for his justice in court, or just so that everybody knows that he's deceased. And we can just concentrate on these three girls. So this man killed his children, allegedly. And there was what we're going to look at is a memorial service that was held for these girls. And the thing that is incredible about this is the mother, Whitney. She did talk at the memorial. I don't know where she found her strength from. I really don't. She's lost these three girls. She was trying to fight the custody, because he was entitled to, I think it was a 4-hour weekend custody thing. When he didn't return the girls after the 4 hours, that's when Whitney knew something was wrong. But Whitney had been trying to stop him having custody, because Whitney knew about his mental health issues. She'd been to the this is Whitney. She'd been to the police. She'd been to the courts. She tried to stop him having, any sort of rights to these children, and she failed. So, I blame the courts for this as well. Now, of course, a lot has been said about the twonk, saying that he's got PTSD and this, that, and the other. Whatever, mental health issues. I'm gone past all these mental health issues. People deal with mental health issues every day, PTSD, worse things than he's probably been through. And they don't murder their 3 kids. I think there'll be more to it. He was probably on drugs or drinking or other things like that. He just, couldn't stand the fact he apparently was trying to get back with Whitney. She wasn't interested. He couldn't stand the fact he couldn't get his own way. I just don't, I'm not feeling this mental health issue anymore. I'm sick of it. When people bring it up, just sick of it. Can't use it as an excuse to murder 3 children. So I hope personally that he is deceased, because if he's ends up getting caught, okay, he'll face justice, but he'll probably, use the PTSD card or whatever, and, what sentence will he get? So, maybe it's better that he is deceased. So we're going to have a little look. Well, what we're going to look at is particularly when Whitney speaks at the memorial service. We're going to look at a few bits, not the whole memorial service because it's quite long, so we won't look at the whole thing, but we'll look at bits of it. But first of all, I just want to show you this article. This is the lawyer for Whitney, and she believes that he's probably deceased. So the lawyer for the mother of 3 girls who police allege were killed by their dad thinks he died by self-deletion. Now, I know a lot of people think he hasn't because they think he will have been found by now, but I think it could take a long time to find him personally. So Whitney Decker's attorney, Ariana Cozart, tells The People, which is this magazine or whatever, she believes Travis Decker has died by suicide. I personally believe that as well. Authorities are searching for Travis, who's accused by police of killing his 3 daughters, Peyton 9, Evelyn 8, and Olivia 5. And Cozart says that Travis struggled with mental health issues, but was a present and active father up to the end. I mean, see, because do you know what? He suffocated those girls and he tied their hands behind him with zip ties. It's foul what he did. Is there a chance? I mean, just something that sometimes, is there a chance that he didn't do it, that somebody else did it and they've done away with him as well? Because there was blood found, wasn't there, on the car? So, you sort of almost hope that, because it's horrible to think that father would have done that. So he's been accused, he's 32, he's been accused by police of killing the girls. And she believes, this attorney believes, he is no longer alive as the manhunt for him goes into its 4th day. But the police, so it's important to say, the police are still saying they think he's alive. So I don't know. So remember, he turned up for the planned visitation. He was supposed to return them 4 hours later and he didn't. How could you do that to these children? Even if you weren't their father. I know people do bad things to children, though. I think that's something we can never, ever understand, is it? Just seems the most picking on vulnerable people, either children, old people and animals. These are because it's their vulnerability that just makes it even worse, isn't it? It's horrible to kill anybody, but it's just even worse when it's the vulnerable members of our society, isn't it? So, okay, so we're going to have a look at the actual, I'm going to put some windows down actually. I'll put over to the memorial and start the memorial. Now, I'll start it from the beginning, but we won't watch the whole thing. But they asked for people to wear bright colours, and they did. So let's. Now I am turning the music down because YouTube doesn't like it when you play music. They can get sort of funny about it. I don't want them cutting it off or anything. So you can see there's quite a lot of people there, and they're all wearing the bright colours that they were asked to wear. There's no speaking on it, it's just music. But anyway, I'm going to watch like the whole thing. Like, we're just going to watch little bits of it.
One not defined by tragedy, but by love, laughter, kindness, and light. I had the privilege of sitting in the living room with Whitney and her family last week, and I told them I would only stay for 90 minutes. And after nearly 3 hours of hearing the family tell stories of the girls, I wiped the tears from my eyes, and I left that meeting with a deep love and respect for this family and an inspiring admiration of Peyton.
Do you know, it's funny because I'm looking at him with his pink tie on. How weird that just before I started this live, I suddenly decided this pink spray, hairspray that I've had probably about 5 years in my bathroom cupboard. I just suddenly got it out and sprayed my hair. I think I was directed to do that by someone from above. I don't know. Strange.
Evie and Olivia, I wish you could have been there with me, but I hope what happened in my heart that day will happen in your hearts tonight. As we journey through the story of Peyton, Evan, and Olivia, we will cry together, laugh together, and likely take inventory of our own lives. Listen closely to their stories, as each of the girls are unique and each has something to say to us. And finally, we are also here tonight to bear witness to something just as powerful as their light, your response. This community, all of you, have been a beacon in the darkest night. Through your acts of generosity and your prayers, your presence, and your love, our first responders, search and rescue, and tireless efforts of law enforcement, you have reminded us all, even in the shadow of something unthinkable, that the light still shines. I believe in a tragic time like this, that theology should take a back seat so that we can simply weep with those who weep. I know in a crowd this size, there are many different beliefs represented here, and we respect that. And at the same time, if you are comfortable, I would invite you to join me in a simple prayer. God, I pray that you would speak to our hearts through the lives of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. May you use the light of their lives to help us see more clearly as we find ourselves tonight in the shadow of sorrow. We don't understand, our hearts ache, and we need each other tonight, and we need you. Amen.
Amen.
Well, every life is a story.
So let's just have a look. There's a few people speak. The most important person I want to see who speaks, of course, is Whitney, the mother. Right, he's finished his. Let's see.
Try to get my papers not blow away. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tyler Charlo, and for the past 2 years, I've had the absolute privilege of knowing Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. First as the site coordinator for the YMCA's after-school program, and later as a substitute teacher for each of their classrooms at Lincoln Elementary.
Oh.
I cared for them, spent time with them, laughed with them, learned from them, and watched them grow into the kind, joyful, and spirited young girls we're here to honor today. Many of you know me, and for those of you who don't, all you need to know is that these 3 girls made a lasting impact on my life, just as they did on so many of yours. I stand here today not as a speaker, but simply someone who loved them, someone who was lucky to share in their world, even for a short time. Each of them brought something special into the lives they touched. They were sisters, teammates, and best friends. They lifted each other up, made each other laugh, and filled their world with love. Tonight, my role is to speak about Peyton. and the way she made life brighter for everyone around her. And while we carry the love for all three girls in our hearts, I want to take some time to share the memories and moments that made Peyton so wonderfully unforgettable. There are some people who step into your life and without even trying, change it forever. They don't do it through big, grand gestures or loud statements, but simply by being themselves.
Now, I'm going to fast forward, no offense to him. If you want to watch the whole memorial, of course, it's on the internet, but it's just time constraints. Unfortunately, I haven't got time. I want to get really to the mother. That's the most important. Because the whole point of what I want to say is that I don't understand, the strength that this mother's got. It's amazing what strength you can get. Thing is, when bad things happen in your life, any of our lives, is how you do. You have to move on. We've seen that when we've had Rebecca Ramsey on. About talking about her son Dylan who died. It's not even a choice, Well, you always have a choice. You can decide you're not going to get up in the morning. You're going to go off and, I don't know, even do something to yourself. These are choices that you can make. Or you can choose, to honor your loved one's memory by trying to help other people, or just, going along like what Rebecca does, of course, as she lost her 13-year-old son, Dylan, didn't she, to drowning. What she decided to do, and, I'm sure she has days where she doesn't even want to get out of bed, but she decided from really early on, that's her way of dealing with it, is to go out and try if she can just save one other young person's life, or anybody's life, really. So her big thing is water prevention, drowning prevention. Now, as I say, I'm sure there's days, I know for a fact there are days when Rebecca probably wakes up in the morning and thinks, I can't face this, I can't do this. But she gets up and does it, and she does it for Dylan. And that's the name of her hashtag, of course, is doing it for Dylan. I feel like, this is what's happening here. But, this is a month on from losing these children. 3 girls, this poor woman. And she was trying to tell the authorities she did not feel comfortable with letting the children go to Travis, because she felt like mentally wasn't capable, and nobody was listening to her. Anyway, let's have a look what she's got to say, because it's just incredible.
But I guess we didn't need them because I didn't even know they were gone. Evie loved to give gifts. And Olivia is stronger than anything this world.
Fantastic.
So
I know that Peyton would have saw, and I know that Evie would have loved.
Heartbreak. And so Whitney will come and share now. Not because it is
So
easy,
Whitney's coming out, the
because her
mother.
love for
I don't know how
Peyton,
she
Evie,
did.
and Olivia is
do it,
stronger
but she
than
does it,
anything
and
this
good
world
for her.
could ever
Does
take
it
away
for
from
her
her.
daughters.
Would you greet Whitney?
I just have a short something to share. Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. You all look beautiful, and I know that Evie would have loved to ooh and ah over all of your outfits. She would have been amazed by all the color out there. I just thought you guys look fantastic. You know that Peyton would have sought each and every one of you out to try to find something to give you a compliment for. She did that for everyone, whether it was in the grocery store or at school or with me, always telling me, oh, you look so beautiful, Mom. I love your earrings, or whatever it was that she could find. I wanted to share a means of connection the girls and I had that I think allowed them to have such warm and open hearts to the community around them. After my divorce, there were a lot of feelings flowing through my house. As you could imagine, me going through a divorce with 3 small, tiny women. Some of the feelings were easier to talk about than others. Through the girls' time with Children's Home Society and some incredible therapists, we discovered the 3 feelings. At night, during their bedtime routine, I would ask them what 3 feelings they felt during that day. No feeling too big or too small, and what was going on when they felt those feelings. For Peyton, she always had more than 3, consistently eager to tell me about every minute of her day. She was always interrupting her sisters to make sure I knew every single one. For Ev, we would talk about her feelings one-on-one, right at bedtime, because she wasn't always ready to share them with her sisters. And for Olivia, we were still working on how to describe all of her feelings, but beyond a shadow of a doubt, one was always happy. Even when I tried to avoid telling my feelings, which is so easy to do as an adult, I feel like, the girls, one of them would always say, "Wait, Mom, you didn't tell me what yours were," and make sure that I too would tell them what my 3 feelings were. I'm so thankful for the time that I had with the girls and how the 3 feelings allowed us to connect when the world slowed down. And it really gave me an inside look into their day. I believe doing this with them allowed them to come into the world with open hearts and kindness. I hope that you are all able to do some version of the 3 feelings with your loved ones. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight and the outpouring of love that you have shown me and my family over the past few weeks. I truly hope that the legacy of the girls' lives lives in everyone's heart forever. They were incredible.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Whitney. Peyton, Evie, and Olivia lived with a kind of brightness that is hard to describe, but is impossible to forget. Whether laughing until their belly hurt, hugging with arms that somehow made you feel completely safe, and offering up the purest acts of kindness in the smallest ways, they were love, uncomplicated, and true. Though their time was short, their impact is vast, and we know that because you are here. Look around you. This is what love looks like. This is what light can do. In the days since we lost Peyton, Evie, and Olivia, something extraordinary has happened. In the face of tragedy, this community rose up, not with anger, but with compassion. Meals were brought, hands were held, stories were told, tears were shared, money was raised, vigils were held, and we became a living testimony to the legacy of the girls. We're going to watch a slideshow and begin our candle lighting ceremony as best we can with the wind. Grandma Rhonda and Aunt Aggie will begin the lighting, and each one of you will help light the candles around you. Are we using real candles or battery candles? We're going for real? Okay. So, would you please tilt the unlit?
Now, I'm not sure what the slideshow, do we get to see the slideshow properly? I mean, how strong is that woman to get up and stand there and say that? I mean, it's, or is she just like on, sometimes you just go on automatic pilot, don't you? Let's see. Oh, yeah. Let's watch this slideshow.
In darkness. That love is louder than hate, and that goodness endures.
Turn the music down because I just don't know how YouTube will react to that. Just the important thing is obviously to see all the slideshow. I mean, you just can't believe it. 3 little girls gone, you know, and this, anyway. But, oh, look at that. Oh. Thing is, when I know it is a shocking crime, David, I agree. How you cannot even get it into your head how someone could do this. Least of all the father. But, you know, this is fathers and mothers, you know, do kill their children. Chris Watts, he's a prime example, isn't he? You cannot get your head around it at all. And Chris Watts did it for another woman, didn't he, really? This guy maybe has got mental health. God, you'd have to have massive mental health issues to do this, wouldn't you? Absolutely massive mental health issues. You know, you just can't conceive of it. How do you look them in the face and do that to them? Tie them up with... Anyway, I can't think about the actual thing itself because it's just so horrible. Just don't know how he could do it. He must have been drunk or drugged up or probably a combination of the both. How could you look these little girls in the face and do that to them? And, you know, like Chris Watts' kids, oh, daddy, no daddy. Can you imagine how terrified these girls were? Their own father. Oh, gosh. Because you know what? It's a horrible world out there in lots of ways, isn't it? There's always people you've got to be careful of. Well, these people moving around while the slideshow's going on, how disrespectful are they? You know, you're always... There's people out there that you've got to worry about, but you expect to feel safe with your parents, don't you? At least if you can feel safe at home, maybe you're not safe anywhere else. But these little girls, they weren't safe with their own father. I don't think this... Oh. Oh. I mean, they look so happy, bless them. You know, you don't expect danger to be in the form of your own father or mother, do you? You know, there is danger everywhere. There is danger everywhere, but you don't expect it to be someone that you care about. You know, these are the people that are supposed to protect you. So, again, where is he? Where is Travis Decker? Is he alive or is he deceased? I think he's deceased. I sort of hope he is, really. Sit down, twat. Sorry. Oh, people are so disrespectful. They can't just sit down while the slideshow's happening. Now, it's interesting that they have put pictures up here of these girls with their dad. I don't know if I would have done that, but, you know, he was their dad after all, I suppose. Huh. Oh, look at that. Sit down, you twat. Sorry, it's just making me angry, that. If these people that are there can't sit down while the actual slideshow's on for like 5 minutes, for fuck's sake. Disrespectful twats. Yeah, what a twonk, Lily. It makes you wonder, is he, if he is alive, he could have gone to this, couldn't he? He could be lurking, because of course there's this big talk about him possibly being, he's a survivalist and he can do this, he's like fucking Superman or something. I don't know if he's that good really, to be honest. But it's quite scary to think that it could be there lurking around, couldn't he? Anyway, I think that's the end of the slideshow, so I'm going to stop that now. Very emotional. I think Whitney did so well. She was so brave. And as for those people who stood up while the slideshow was happening, you should be ashamed of yourself. Okay. So, let's see. When is he going to turn up, this guy? Is he going to turn up, or is he deceased? It's been quite a long time already. Strange that he's not been found. That's what makes a lot of people think that it might still be alive, because he's moving. But of course, we saw that terrain. He could be anywhere. So, don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to put a few... close a few windows, and we're going to look at the last thing that we're going to talk about. I've tried to finish on the more positive thing. I mean, it's not positive really, because, a lot of people talking about this plane crash and the one survivor. But of course, a lot of people died, including this poor guy's brother who is sat next to. But it's a bit of a miracle that this guy, I need to look at his name before I try and pronounce it, because I can't, sorry, no offense, but it's an impossible name for me to pronounce. So the guy who survived this Indian plane crash, let's see, what's his name? Kumar. Maybe I should just stick to, I can manage his first name, Kumar. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, his name is, isn't it? And he survived. Unbelievable. He literally walked away from this plane crash, apparently. So let's see the footage of him, as it seems, just literally walking away. Unbelievable. So those of you who don't know, I think we looked at this case. This was this horrible crash, this plane that took off in India.
A new video shows the moment the soul...
Stop it a minute. Took off in India, and literally within a couple of seconds crashed onto a sort of, it was like a training hospital, wasn't it, for doctors? Or not hospital, hostel, I should say. And killed people there. All the people on board the plane were killed, except for one person who literally seems to have walked away from it. So let's have a look.
A new video shows the moment the sole survivor of last week's Air India plane crash walked away from the scene.
So this is apparently him, literally, as the plane crashed into the hostel and it broke in half. He was sat in seat 11A, which now everybody wants seat 11A, next to the emergency exit. And he's literally come walking up. He's still got his phone in his hand. He's probably in shock, to be fair.
Watch as he just walks into the street away from that fiery crash site, apparently talking on his phone before being rushed to a hospital. His brother was among the 271 people killed in that crash. Both black boxes have now been recovered. There's still no word on what caused the crash.
How did he survive?
A new video shows the moment the
and the thing is, I think when he first emerged, let me put it on a smaller thing, it's probably better. When he first emerged from the crash, I don't think people realised that he'd actually got off the plane. You know, he come walking out, looking at his phone, talking on his phone, it looked like. And I don't think people realised that he actually had been on that plane. You know, they just thought he'd been in the surrounding area.
sole survivor of last week's Air India plane crash walked away from the scene. Watch as he just walks into the street away from that fiery crash site, apparently talking on his phone before being rushed to a hospital. His brother was among the 271 people killed in that crash. Both black boxes have now been recovered. There's still no word on what caused the crash.
Yeah, we still don't know what caused this crash, don't forget. So the investigations are taking place, but we don't know. We don't know yet what actually caused the crash. But yeah, this guy survived. He's the only survivor. Let's have a look at this now. So this is when he was in hospital. I think he was in shock there when he came out. He must have thought, oh, it must have felt like a dream or something. Anyway, he said, I thought I would die. The sole survivor from the Air India plane crash speaks out. Everything happened in front of my eyes. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh said. Let's have a look at this.
Now to the investigation into that deadly plane crash in India. The official death toll now stands at 246, 241 on the Air India jet, 5 on the ground. And from the tragedy comes a story of survival. One passenger right there made it out of the wreckage alive.
As he walks out, I wonder if people around him, they just didn't realise, did they, that he'd actually come off the plane. You know, it's, oh my God, you know, unbelievable. Unbelievable that this guy survived. Because initially they said there were no survivors, didn't they? And then they said he literally just walked out of the wreckage.
Chief International Correspondent James Longman has the latest from Mumbai. Good morning, James.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. The mood here is stunned disbelief. How could such a modern plane essentially just fall out of the sky? The NTSB is on their way here to India to help the Civil Aviation Authority with its investigation. And this as one man survived. An urgent investigation is underway this morning to determine how an Air India jet carrying 230 passengers and 12 crew crashed just after takeoff, killing everyone but one on board.
Now, I've thought often as I've been I've been wanting to talk about this for a while and just haven't had a chance. But you know, how awful to be one of the people that's got to recover the survivors. You know, these recovery teams, they, you know, my heart goes out to them. I'm sending my prayers out for them, as well as obviously the people that were killed on the plane and the families, etc. Because that's a horrible job, isn't it? To clean up after an air crash like that, to have to remove bodies and body parts, and you know, it just must be so traumatic. So, you know, good job. Some people do that job. I couldn't do it.
Stunning video filmed from a nearby building shows the jet ascend briefly before disappearing below the tree line, and then an enormous fireball. The plane took off just after 1:30 Thursday afternoon and was headed for London's Gatwick Airport. Moments later, the aircraft plummeted to the ground near the Ahmedabad airport. Smoke from the tragedy seen for miles. Firefighters hosing down the smouldering wreckage. Part of the plane seen hanging out of the medical college it crashed into. Here you can see the back tire sticking out of a building and a desperate rush to find survivors.
I thought, I don't know if maybe he's joking or what.
Akash Vatsa was on the same plane a flight earlier from Delhi to Ahmedabad.
And it's a Dreamliner 787.
sharing this footage from inside the aircraft.
I was in so much of shock. My father, my friend, they were also like traumatized.
Through the tragedy, miraculously, a sole survivor, seated in 11A, an emergency row seat. Astonishingly, he's seen here walking away from the crash. Vishwash Kumar Ramesh remains hospitalized. His family, meanwhile, beyond grateful.
When he was on the runway, my dad called him, and
So he's British. He's a British citizen. Him and his brother were on that plane. But he's got other brothers here in Britain, and this was an interview with one of the brothers. So he walked away, but his other brother died. So this must be like a mixed feelings with this family. You know, Indian families, they have they tend to have big families, don't they? You can see here all the family are together. Of course, they value their extended families as well, which is great. And they're all there, and it's like a mixed, it must be in sort of such a mixed emotion. You know, so grateful that one brother is alive, but the other one's deceased. That brother that survived, he's going to go through survivor's guilt, because it'd be like, why did I survive? Why did my brother not survive? Could I have done anything more to help him? Oh, I mean, so although it's a positive thing, now there were a lot of other people on that. Now, one thing I'm going to go into in a video, again, it's on the list, but there was another British couple. Did you see the two guys that are in a relationship? They made a video before they got on that aeroplane. They're very spiritual. They were very spiritual people, and I see them on TikTok all the time now. And I'm going to do a special video about those, because they made a video at the airport. You know, they were looking forward to. They'd had a brilliant time in India. They were on the way home. But I'm not going to talk about that in this video. There's also other things are coming out now of families that were on there, more information about the victims. And I am planning on doing a video about that. But I just wanted to say, it's not that I've forgotten about them. I want to talk about them. But I'm not talking about in this video. This video is about the miracle of the guy surviving. But yeah, so this was the family. I think they're in London, aren't they?
And Vishwa said, "Oh, we're going to take off soon." And then literally like 2 minutes later, he video called my dad. As he crashed, he said, "Oh, our plane's crashed." All of that. I don't know where my brother is. I don't see any other passengers. I don't know how I'm alive, how I exited the plane.
Although Ramesh was seated.
Now, Ramesh, that was probably who he was on the phone to. As he came out of the phone there on his video call with the phone in his hand, that was probably his dad that he was talking to then.
In that emergency row seat, experts say there's no safest seat on passenger planes. This is the first fatal crash involving a Boeing Dreamliner since it entered service in 2011. Aviation experts raising concerns about the engines after seeing the nose of the plane pointed up in the moments before disaster, pointing to an issue of thrust.
Thrust,
These jets
I
are
said that.
built to be very carefully designed to not have.
No, I'm not trying to be a know-it-all, but I literally said that in a previous video. It seemed like they tried to do the thrust and there just was nothing there. And it might be probably, it just reminded me of, I've had so many old cars in my long life. And that's how it is when they start to go, isn't it? It's like the engine just loses power and you're doing the accelerator, but it's just not happening. That's how it looked like, wasn't it, with that? And but I don't know what the reasons are that would cause that. Oh.
Now to the investigation into that deadly plane crash in India. The official death toll now stands at 246, 241 on the Air India jet, 5 on the
sorry, I think it went back to the beginning. But anyway, let's just carry on.
And from the tragedy comes a story of survival. One passenger right there made it out of the wreckage alive. Chief International Correspondent James Longman has the latest from Mumbai. Good morning, James.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. The mood here is stunned disbelief. How could such a modern plane essentially just fall out of the sky? The NTSB is on their way here to India to help the Civil Aviation Authority with its investigation. And this as one man survived. An urgent investigation is underway this morning to determine how an Air India jet carrying 230 passengers and 12 crew crashed just after takeoff, killing everyone but one on board. Stunning video filmed from a nearby building shows the jet ascend briefly before disappearing below the tree line, and then an enormous fireball. The plane took off just after 1:30 Thursday afternoon and was headed for London's Gatwick Airport. Moments later, the aircraft plummeted to the ground near the Ahmedabad airport. Smoke from the tragedy seen for miles. Firefighters hosing down the smouldering wreckage. Part of the plane seen hanging out of the medical college it crashed into. Here you can see the back tire sticking out of a building and a desperate rush to find survivors.
I thought, I don't know if maybe he's joking or what.
Akash Vatsa was on the same plane a flight earlier from Delhi to Ahmedabad.
It's a Dreamliner 787.
Sharing this footage from inside the aircraft.
I was in so much of shock. My father, my friend, they were also like traumatized.
Through the tragedy, miraculously, a sole survivor, seated in 11A, an emergency row seat. Astonishingly, he's seen here walking away from the crash. Vishwash Kumar Ramesh remains hospitalized. His family, meanwhile, beyond grateful.
When he was on the runway, well, my dad called him and Vishwash said, "Oh, we're going to take off soon." And then literally like 2 minutes later, he video called my dad. As he crashed, he said, "Oh, our plane's crashed." All of that. I don't know where my brother is. I don't see any other passengers. I don't know how I'm alive, how I exited the plane.
Although Ramesh was seated in that emergency row seat, experts say there's no safest seat on passenger planes. This is the first fatal crash involving a Boeing Dreamliner since it entered service in 2011. Aviation experts raising concerns about the engines after seeing the nose of the plane pointed up in the moments before disaster, pointing to an issue of thrust.
These jets are built to be very carefully designed to not have something happen to the left engine if it happens to the right and vice versa. There's never just one cause, but this is going to be critical.
Boeing has told ABC News they're ready to support the investigation. It's crucial information from the black box that will shed light on how this could have happened. Well, Ahmedabad Airport has now reopened. It could take months or years to establish what really happened here. The United States has vowed to help any way it can.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can't rely on the United States for anything, can we? You know. Well, not in my opinion, anyway.
In the meantime, we turn to the other major news this evening, the new video of that horrific crash, an Air India passenger jet just moments after taking off from the airport in Western India, bound for London. The first ever crash of a Boeing 787 Dreamliner in the air for only 30 seconds. At least 246 people killed. And tonight, the incredible story here of that lone survivor, the miracle in seat 11A. Surveillance video showing the last moments of the flight about 30 seconds after liftoff, seeming to lose power. You can see the plane dropping in the sky, disappearing behind buildings, and then exploding into a massive fireball. 242 passengers and crew on board, the plane crashing into a medical college, destroying a dorm and killing several people on the ground as well. Firefighters and rescuers battling those flames, working to untangle the wreckage, trying to recover the bodies inside. The plane breaking up, the tail lodged right into a building. The black boxes are in that part of the plane. They're hoping they unlock some of this mystery. And tonight, what we're learning about that miracle survivor, the man sitting in seat 11A, you can see walking away from the crash, saying he has no idea how he survived this. ABC's chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, leading us off tonight from London's Gatwick Airport, where that plane was supposed to land.
Tonight, the chilling final moments of flight AI 171, the London-bound Air India jet roaring down the runway. But immediately after takeoff, the plane struggling to climb, appearing to lose engine power, plunging into a residential neighborhood in Ahmedabad, India, exploding in a massive fireball about 30 seconds after takeoff. Video filmed from a nearby building showing the horror unfolding. The plane, loaded with jet fuel and 242 passengers and crew on board, headed to Gatwick Airport in London. Plumes of thick black smoke billowing from the crash site. Firefighters spraying water on the burning wreckage. The plane slamming into a medical college during lunchtime. You can see the abandoned meals on the tables. Shocking images showing the tail sticking out of a building next to a mangled landing gear. Debris scattered for blocks. At least 246 people killed, including several medical students on the ground, authorities say. And tonight, after police initially said there were no survivors on the plane, Air India making a stunning announcement. One person on board survived. Extraordinary video appears to show the sole survivor, Vishwas Ramesh, limping away minutes after the crash, smoke billowing in the background. He reportedly told local media he doesn't know how he made it out alive. His family here in Britain speaking out tonight, grateful Vishwas survived, but tragically his brother AJ still missing.
When he was on the runway, well, my dad called.
Now, it's ironic when they say his brother's still missing, because they've got his brother now, because they've buried him, because he helped to... he's been released from hospital. He's just got cuts on his face, and you know, it is a miracle, and it is a mystery. How did he survive? You know, but anyway, it's all to come out, isn't it? It's all to come out. We don't know the full story yet. We shouldn't speculate, really.
Him, and Vishwas said, "Oh, we're going to take off soon." And then literally like 2 minutes later, he video called my dad. As he crashed, he said, "Oh, our plane's crashed." All of that. I don't know where my brother is. I don't see any other passengers. I don't know how I'm alive, how I exited the plane.
Vishwas reportedly seated in 11A in the emergency exit row. This is the first ever crash of a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, which has had a perfect flying record since entering service in 2011.
But the thing is, how did he walk away from it? Did he not land on the top of the building then? It must have split and he was just on the floor.
Tonight, investigators, including the NTSB, poring over those videos, searching for clues.
The 787 is an extraordinarily safe airplane, and so to watch it unable to get airborne raises all sorts of questions. Were both engines operating? Did they lose an engine on takeoff? Or was there something more that caused them to impact the ground just after we're taking off?
David, that flight was supposed to land here at London's Gatwick Airport just a few hours ago. Instead, tonight, families of the victims have been given help and support as they mourn their loved ones. David.
Ian Pano leading us off tonight from London. Ian, thank you.
Okay, now, I just want to show, right, I've got to put that down. Put some windows down. Dear me. Yeah, I don't like that, Jodie Lass. They shouldn't be allowed to do that, should they? No, they shouldn't be allowed to put on these graphic pictures. Unfortunately, on X, you can get to see all those things. But so I just wanted to show. So he was discharged, and this is a photo of him helping to carry his brother's coffin. His brother has been buried in India, apparently. But the other thing I want to show you is there was a big, what's the word? Let me just check that show. There was a big hoo-ha in India because this person, Suchitra Krishnamurthy, faced a backlash for claiming that the Air India crash survivor was lying. But they've since deleted the post and issued an apology. Now, you know, there'll always be these kind of things. I mean, it just looks so incredible that this guy could just walk away, didn't it? But at the end of the day, he has got injuries. He's got injuries, but they're just not very severe injuries. What was she trying to say? Anyway, this woman, Suchitra, I'll just say her first name, faced severe criticism after alleging that Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, the sole survivor of the Air India plane crash, fabricated his survival story. But then where was it? Why? No. He can't have fabricated it because his brother's dead, isn't he? You know, you could see that somebody could fabricate. People do things like that. Was he pretending he'd been on the plane? But I just can't see it. His brother has now been buried. Why would he do that? Anyway, she questioned his mental state in a now deleted text following public backlash and verification of Ramesh's survival by the civil hospital. She issued a public apology retracting her statement. Also, she's an actor and singer, apparently in India. She stirred quite the controversy this week after she claimed that he was lying about his ordeal. And amidst mounting criticism of her harsh tweet, questioning the authenticity and the mental stability of him, the lone survivor, she deleted the post and has now issued a public apology. And she said, I took out my last tweet on the Air India crash survivor. It seems to be false news. I mean, there's loads of that false, didn't she look into it before she said it? I mean, oh my God, you've only got to go on bloody TikTok and there's loads of people saying, oh, there's something not right about this or blah, 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 like they do. But, there's no evidence that it's not true. In fact, I think as they said there, it's been confirmed by the hospital. Okay, so she's apologized, and she said, because what she actually said on her X account or Twitter account was that he was fabricating his story about surviving the crash. And she went on apparently to say that the man deserves not only some serious punishment, but some mental asylum time if this is true. But you know what? Why tweet it before you knew whether it was true or not? If it turns out in the future there isn't true that he was on that, well, I'll be the first one to say it, but I won't be saying it until I know for certain. Odd, isn't it? Let's have a look at this. So he was discharged so that he could help carry his brother's coffin, apparently. There he is. So, anyone got any opinions on that? I don't think for a minute that it's not true, because there he is carrying his brother's coffin. Do people, I think it's strange. I think it's incredible that he walked away. But I don't think it's not true that he was a survivor. I just don't believe it. Yeah. I mean, strange things do happen, don't they? I mean, he is injured. Maybe not as injured as we think he should be. But apparently his seat detached from the wreckage and saved him from the explosion. Oh, so he's definitely got a mission in life.
और सब हाल चाल पूछा सब.
विश्वास, अगर हम जानना चाहें कि आप थोड़ा सा बता पाएं कि ये हादसा कैसे हुआ था, क्योंकि ये एक बड़ा चमत्कार है जिस तरीके से आप वहां से इकलौते ऐसे शख्स हैं जो जिंदा बचे.
वो मेरे नजरों के सब सामने हुआ था. मेरे खुद को भी बिलीव नहीं होता कि मैं कैसे उसमें से जिंदा बाहर निकला, क्योंकि थोड़ा टाइम लिए कि तो मेरे को लगा था कि मैं भी मरने वाला हूँ, लेकिन जब मेरी आँख खुल के मैं देखा ना तो मुझे लगा मैं जिंदा हूँ. तो मैंने ट्राई किया, जब मेरी सीट थे वो मेरी बेल्ट निकाला, मैंने वो ट्राई किया जहाँ से निकल सकता वहाँ से, तो मैं निकल गया वहाँ से. मेरे सामने नजरों के सामने एयर होस्टल और दूसरे आंटी अंकल सभी उसमें मिस हो गए थे सभी.
अच्छा, थोड़ा सा बता पाए जब जैसे ही टेक ऑफ हुई फ्लाइट, क्या हुआ था और अचानक से कैसे हादसा हुआ?
टेक ऑफ के बाद 1 मिनट के अंदर ही जब टेक ऑफ हुआ ना, तो सडनली 5-10 सेकंड कैसे लगा जैसे स्टक हो गया वो। बाद में से मेरे को लगा कि कुछ हुआ, बाद में
Yes, unfortunately, this is all in Punjabi, so we can't understand what he's saying.
प्लेन में लाइट ऑन हो गई।
I mean, to me, it looks absolutely genuine. I think when he walked away from that flight, he didn't have these injuries so obvious, because it takes a while for injuries to come up, doesn't it? You know, he literally, if his seat detached, which it seems like it did, and it'd take a while for bruises, swellings, and things like that to come up. That video of him walking away from the flight was literally in the moment.
ग्रीन और व्हाइट, बाद में वो पता नहीं वो प्लेन टेक ऑफ ज्यादा करने के लिए वो रेस तो बोलते हैं क्या, रेस दिया होगा ऐसा कुछ, और सीधा स्पीड में ही घुस गया जहाँ वो क्या था वो
हॉस्टल था, एक हॉस्पिटल का।
हाँ, हॉस्टल में।
Yeah, we could do with it in English, really, couldn't we? But oh, this was the president, when the president came to see him.
क्या भैया बता पैसेंजर
Yeah, there's plane tickets there and what have you, so I don't think there's any reason to believe it's not true. Anyway, it's just going to keep repeating. But time will tell when the black box gets sorted, or the 2 black boxes, or whatever. You know. Yeah, we all have a number and his wasn't up. Yeah, 11A is definitely his lucky number, isn't it? 11. So, you know. Anyway. Oh my God, it's a crazy world, isn't it? Most certainly is a crazy world. Okay, so we've talked about these 3 things. I hope you found this video interesting. Thank you so much for chatting and being so respectful to each other and everything. I'm going to break this video up and release it in the individual things as I normally do. I may be back later, maybe not, because it's so hot here at the moment. It's currently 34 degrees. That's what it's showing on my computer. It's really horrible. I know you've been having hot weather in the UK even, and that in Europe in general, but it's suffocating really. But I've got the aircon on. I'm okay. I'm lucky that I've got that, and I'm expecting a fan to be delivered from Amazon, which I can't believe it didn't come while I was on the live. Hello, baby. So the dogs, you can imagine what the dogs are like. Princess Tia is down here at the moment. Oh, it's too hot, isn't it? It's too hot. She's even too, I was going to see if I could show you her. She's even too, let's see if you can see her. I don't think you can see her. Where is she? She's down here somewhere. Why can't I see you on the... Trying to show her, but not doing very well. It's too dark. It's too dark down there. You can't see her. See all my flexes and stuff. It's too dark to see you, isn't it, baby? Anyway, never mind. Sorry. No, it's not happening. So I hope you all. So yeah, I'm expecting a fan to be delivered from Amazon. I'm surprised it didn't come in the middle of the live. That's what normally happens, isn't it? How amazing that they didn't, because there would have been a lot of barking then. But I'll see you really soon in the next video. Please take care. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe for updates on all the cases that we're covering. I'll see you really soon in the next video. Excuse my pink hair. Actually, it's sort of growing on me because it goes with my earrings, goes with my top, goes with my one pink nail. Okay, I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye.